At Texas minicamp, wide receiver Tank Dell looked.
That was big Sarge. Yes,
Hello, how y'all doing? I know it's been a while. It has been a while, and here we go. Y'all got to give me a second. Uh, Texans wide receiver Tank Dell. See if I can get this thing going as well. Let me see. Okay, there we go. Welcome to TikTok Live. What's going on, y'all? I would, y'all know I normally start the show off with, hey, what's going on, y'all? Big Sarge here, but you know, it is almost 10 o'clock. My wife is in the bed pretty soon. I'm going to be going to bed. It's been a very long day, but you tune in to the Texas Tailgate Talk with Big Sarge. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter. At Big Sarge Sports the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you are subscribed to the Texas Tailgate Talk Show on YouTube. Follow me on IG at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Because we do everything for the gram. All right. I know it's been a minute, but it has been a very long 2 days. Sunday, what's the day? Tuesday. Monday night, I was on the B Block podcast with Brandon K. Scott from Sports Radio 610. He has his own podcast called the B Block Podcast. It was an amazing time. We got a chance to spend like 2 hours with B Scott just talking Texans football, getting ready for mandatory minicamp. And on Tuesday, today, I was at minicamp, and then after I left minicamp, I was co-hosting a show over at ESPN Radio 97.5 with DJ Bieneme, who covers who is the Texans beat writer for ESPN. We sat in for Jeremy Branham and Joe George from 3 to 6. We'll be back on from 3 to 6 on Wednesday. So if you have an opportunity to listen, please go and listen to the Jeremy and Joe show on ESPN Radio on Wednesday. DJ and I will be back for another day, filling in for those guys from 3 to 6. So the Houston Texans started mandatory minicamp on Tuesday. Monday they had media day, but then Tuesday they started mandatory minicamp. Wednesday they have minicamp, and then Thursday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is our final times that we'll get an opportunity to see our final 3 days of seeing the Houston Texans before training camp starts. I think in late July, if I'm not mistaken. And so it's been a long day for me. For those of y'all who know me, y'all know I get up very early in the morning to go work out. That's why this show will not be long. But I get up early in the morning to go work out. So in between working out, the mandatory minicamp and a radio show, it has been a long day. It's definitely going to be another long day on Wednesday. But I did make a promise to the supporters, because I don't call people fans, to the supporters of Texas Tailgate Talk and to Sports Talk with Big Sarge. I made you a promise earlier. I said that there was only one media member who got an opportunity to witness um, Texans running back Tank Dell, running back Texans wide receiver. There's only one media member that got an opportunity to actually see Tank Dell on the field on Tuesday during team drills 3, team drills 4, because at the beginning, him and Nico Collins weren't even on the field, and then they emerged out of the bubble because a lot of the players who are, just rehabbing and getting themselves together, they stay inside of the bubble and then they'll come out. Like, Nico came out, Tank Dale came out, Jake Hansen, who was dealing with some stuff, he came out, some other players came out. And so during Team Drills 3, I tweeted this out that Nico Collins and Tank Dell have emerged from the tunnel. And at that time, the Texans offense, I'm sorry, the team drills is 11 on 11. So, you got the starters going against the starters, then second team against second team, and then they'll start to mix and match, whatever the case may be. Well, they were on the far end of the field when they first when they first came out. They were on the far end of the field, and then I don't know what that means, but they were on the far end of the field doing the team drills 3, and Nico and Tank were just on the side, throwing the ball to each other, playing catch amongst one another. And then they came close. They brought the drill closer towards the media on this end. So they moved from the far end and came closer to us. But it was only the second team. So as I'm standing there, we're watching the second team. As we're standing there, we're watching the second team do team drill 4, 11 on 11. I'm sitting there and I'm watching, and I caught a glimpse and I said, wait a minute. They got another drill going on behind this drill, because they had in front of us was what was the 11 on 11 in front of us, and then they had all of the all of the rest of the players walling off the back end of where they had a whole nother team drill going. So I was like, wait a minute, they got something else going on over there. So I went over there. I didn't go over there. I'm sorry. I moved and got into a different location because I looked and I said, hey, wait a minute. They got that's a whole nother drill going on over there. And it was the starters. And so as I'm looking, I know the first person I noticed was CJ Stroud. And I said, okay, so if CJ's over there, and then I started looking, I started to see other jerseys. I started to see some defensive jerseys. I said, oh, something going on over there. So I went over there. I mean, I moved where I could get a better view. I didn't go over there. I moved so I can get a better view. And I was the only media member standing there. So I'm watching. And all of a sudden, I see number 1. I said, oh, they really got something going on over here. So I tell me about my boy Hutch. Hutch ain't doing too bad. We'll talk about him. I'm gonna talk about him probably on Thursday. I just came on to talk about Tank Dell right now. So everybody knows that Tank Dell had a horrific injury back in week 16 of the 2024 season. And he got hurt in Kansas City, one of the most horrific injuries that I think that I've ever witnessed myself. But Tank Dell had that injury, and it caused him to miss the rest of the season, because that was week 16 versus Kansas City. So he missed the rest, the rest of that season and postseason, and then he missed all of 2025, all of the regular season, all of the Sarge being nosy. He missed all of the regular season. I'm doing my job, J Rock. He missed all of the 2025 regular season and postseason. And so it's been 18 months since Tank Dell suffered that injury in Kansas City. And so a lot of the concerns has been, what does Tank look like? We got a glimpse of it last week as he, slightly participated in the drills as we were getting ready to go, get ourselves prepared for the press conferences. And then, of course, the Texans put it out and they showed him, just doing a little thing. What? I'm not taking nobody over me. LeBron James feelings clear on NBA GOAT debut versus Michael Jordan. Okay. Got it. So with um on today, I'm watching, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. I know that it's we're not gonna really know what Tank Dell is going to be or how he's going to be. We really don't know what he's going to be until we get an opportunity to see him in training camp when he actually goes through everything. But I'm gonna say this: watching him go through those drills today, watching him come out, coming off the line, coming out of the breaks, um, you know, just doing regular football activities. He didn't look bad. He didn't look bad. Now, I'm not here to say that Tank Dell has fully recovered because I am not a medical doctor. I can't diagnose Tank. I can't evaluate Tank. I can only go by what I see. So as I'm watching him, I'm saying to myself, okay, it wasn't the speed burst that we're used to seeing with Tank Dell, before the injury, but he doesn't look like he's significantly limping. He doesn't look like he is, you know, months and months behind. What I watched and what I witnessed on Tuesday was okay. I can see where they're going with this, and I think that if I'm not mistaken, Nick Casario was on the radio, and they said, and they asked him about Tank Dell, and he said that we should be able to see Tank Dell, back in full form in training camp. But like I said, I got an opportunity to witness it today. I got an opportunity to see today. And when what I was watching for him, I didn't care if he caught any passes. I didn't care about any of that. I didn't care. Only thing I cared about was what does he look like coming off the line and running routes, because that's going to be the most important thing, because he's not going to be able to shake those cobwebs out. Hey, what's up, Tay? He's not going to be able to shake those cobwebs out until he gets hit. And that probably won't be until you know the first preseason game, but he's going to have to take some hits throughout the training camp and preseason, but really takes hit in preseason games in order to shake those cobwebs out and get himself back into playing actual football. So the only thing that I was watching, I was looking for today. What's up, Big DQ? The only thing that I was looking for today was to see how is he coming off the line and how he's getting in and out of breaks. And he did not look bad. He did not look bad at all, especially for someone who suffered such a horrific injury as he did. And so I didn't come on here. I didn't come on this show to say, "Man, Tank is back." I ain't come on here to do all that. I'm not finna sit here and lie to y'all. Y'all know I ain't finna BS you. What I say is what I say. I stand 10 toes down on what I say, and I'm definitely not gonna BS none of y'all. If Tank didn't look good, I'd have came on and say, "Hey, man, today, as I got a chance to watch, Tank didn't look good," because I always told you all my job is to be the eyes and the ears of my job is to be the eyes and the ears of for the people who can't be out there. So I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna report. That's my job. So I ain't gonna even lie. Tank didn't look Tank. If I have to put a percentage on it, no, I don't even want to do that. Because if something happens, then you're gonna be like, "Well, Sarge, you had said that Tank was blah blah blah." No, I'm just gonna tell you. I ain't gonna even put no percentage on it. I'm just gonna tell you what I seen, and what I seen from Tank Dell, I liked a lot. I liked him coming off the line. And it's gonna take some time, and I'm still, I know that it's still gonna, take some getting used to him, because football is a violent sport. One of my really good friends who is a former NFL player will say all the time, he's like, it's literally like running into a brick wall at full speed on every play. So football is a violent sport. Tank is going to have to take some contact. He's going to have to get hit after not after 18 months. Listen, he hasn't played football and he hasn't played or had contact in 18 months. And we're just in June right now. July 19, 20. He may not take, it'll be almost nearly 2 years before Tank has had full contact. And I guess we're gonna get an opportunity to see. Look at the big picture. He's in the building and he can run. That's right, J Rock. Um, so yeah, like I said, and I didn't, like I said, I'm normally I'd be in the bed by now. I'd be in the bed by now, but I knew that even after the long day, I had told you all that I was gonna come on here because nobody else, like you're not gonna get this report from anyone else because there's no one else that witnessed it, observed it, except myself. So I was like, well, I would do you all a disservice if I didn't tell you all about one of the, because on the B Block podcast with Brandon K. Scott, one of the things he asked was, "What am I going to look for as far as minicamp is concerned?" Because we already know people will talk about, "Oh, it's just t-shirts. It's just t-shirts and shorts. They're not in pads. They're not tackling." And one of my things I still have it written down right here: how many snaps does Tank Dell get? I said that on this show. I wrote it down, and my question was answered today. My question was answered today when it was towards the end of the mini camp and they went on the back end of the field. They went on the back end of the field in team drill 4, and I got an opportunity to witness him on both sides. I watched him on both sides on, playing the outside receiver, and I'm pretty sure they're going to use him a lot on the inside. What's good, Marcus? I'm pretty sure they're going to use him on the inside, use him as far as the slot receiver is concerned. Okay, so I know I came on here just to talk about Tank. I said I wasn't gonna keep y'all long, but there's something that I do have to address, especially with OTAs and minicamp, and something that's gonna be brought up a lot in training camp. I just seen it. Who put it out there? Somebody put it out. Here we go. I don't know the name. I'm gonna read this to you too. I'm gonna read this to you all on the ones who are watching me on TikTok. It says, "Hey Sarge, in your opinion, is the issue wide receivers lack of separation, Kaylee play calling, or CJ?" Oh, what's up, frat? All right, this is my frat brother. So he says, in my opinion, is the issue lack of separation, Kaylee play calling, or CJ? So I don't know what you're asking me about on for the last two about Kaylee play calling or CJ, but I put this up here, frat, because I do want to address this, right? So there's a lot of people, there's a lot of people asking that question about the lack of separation, and there's some media members who have been reporting, that the Houston Texans wide receivers are having, lack of separation lack of separation issues in OTAs or in minicamp. Well, I'm going to start off by saying that first, there is no, Nico and Tank have not been practicing. Well, I'm not going to even just put Tank to the side. Nico hasn't really been practicing until towards the end of the OTAs, and towards the end OTAs, I think he got in maybe one day, and towards the end of minicamp, the first day of minicamp today. But I want to address this lack of separation, right? I want to address this lack of separation because I've seen this come up a lot. I've seen this come up a lot by some media members, and I've seen this come up as far as some Texans fans, some Texans content creators. They keep rehashing about the Texans lack of separation. I don't know what the Texans lack of separation is going to. I mean, I don't know what the separation is going to look like. in the regular season. Let me say it that. And this ain't me taking no shot and nobody in the media. One, I ain't on that type of time. I ain't on that type of energy. I don't have the energy as far as the mental bandwidth and mental or physical bandwidth to attack anybody in the local media. Not right now, at least. Let me say this: if you're going up against arguably one of the best, if arguably one of the best defensive backfields in the NFL, you're going up against a two-time first team all pro with two second year two second year wide receivers, a rookie wide receiver, a wide receiver that's been in the league and has gotten his share of touches. He's been in the league. Hutch been in the league going on 4 years as well. Who's gotten his touches and is finding himself doing a lot of good things. But you're going up against the number one defense in the NFL. You're going up against arguably one of the best. Like when you look at the Texans secondary, when you look at the Texans defensive backfield with Derek Stingley, Kamari Lassiter, Kalen Bullock, and now they've added Reed Blankenship. That's a top three. That's a top three. And they may not be three defensive backfield. So you're not just gonna have your wide receivers come in, step up, and then just blow by these guys, because on the flip side, like Derek Stingley doesn't want to get beat. Kamari doesn't want to get beat. They don't give a damn that it's OTAs. They don't care that it's minicamp. They don't care that it's training camp. They don't want to lose a rep at all, period. Kamari Lassiter said it best. He said, you don't want to be the guy sitting in your position group room or sitting in the defensive meeting with your plays, with you getting beat on these reps. He said, you don't want to, you don't, that's not, you don't want to be sitting in that meeting having everybody turn and look at you while you're the one that's getting beat on these reps. I forgot Jalen Petrie said the exact same thing. I forgot to add Jalen Petrie. I'm gonna be honest with you. I always forget to add Jalen Petrie, because to me, Jalen Petrie is like a hybrid linebacker. Like, I know he plays the nickel corner position. Like he's a nickel corner safety linebacker. Like he's a hybrid. Jalen Petrie is a hybrid. And so sometimes that's why I kind of forget, because when I start talking about the linebackers, I would have probably said, yeah, and Jalen Petrie, even though he plays the nickel corner, but you can move him from on the line to off the line to way back. You know what? This ain't no flex, but let me tell y'all this, something that I found out at Jalen Petrie's. Let me tell you something I found out at Jalen Petrie's football camp. We're talking to his father, great guy, Rick Petrie. So him and I were talking, and I said, talking about the way that Petrie plays with control, reckless abandonment. Is Tank Dell playing? Yes, he is going to, barring any setback, Tank Dell will be on the field this year. But I was talking to him. I was talking to Jalen Petrie's father, and I said, Jalen doesn't duck any smoke. He loves contact. He's always looking to hit, but he's also, he's also a good cover. He's also good in coverage. And because a lot of people forget, like Jalen Petrie was the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. Don't forget that. He was the Big 12 Player of the Year at Baylor. So, and this is when the Big 12 was the Big 12, not before Oklahoma and UT went to the SEC. So I asked him, I was like, so where did this come from? Like, where did this control, reckless abandonment in which he plays and this aggressive play style, where did that come from? And he said, Sarge, growing up, my boys played almost every position on the defensive side of the ball. And I said, what you mean? He said, my son started out because, Jalen has a brother. He says, Jalen started out playing on the defensive line at defensive end. And then he later on, he moved off of the defensive line and then he started playing linebacker. And then after he played linebacker, he went to play corner. And then after playing corner, he went to playing safety. He says, so when Jalen is on the field, when he takes a step back and he looks, he said, especially when he's playing safety and he's watching everything, not only does he know the responsibility of every player that's on the defensive side of the ball, not only does he know all their responsibilities, but he knows what they're supposed to be doing. He knows what a defensive end is supposed to do. He knows what the linebacker is supposed to do. He knows what the corners are supposed to do. And, of course, he knows his job. So playing from the safety, then they moved him down. And they say now him playing close to the line is not unfamiliar to him because he's played those positions. And so he knows, what Will is going to do, and being able to play off of Will, or being able to come up and help and run support, on that line, or be able to play closer to the line as far as run support from a linebacker position, or coming off the edge blitzing. So Jalen Petrie's knowledge of just playing defense in general is why he's so smart and why he plays with such control, reckless abandonment. I'm driving from Colorado to H-Town in November for the Coast game on Thursday night. And that's going to be a good one, too. That's going to be a good one because they play the Colts in week 5? Week 3. Week 3, right? Because it's Buffalo, Cincinnati. Those are the 2 home games. And then those are the 2 home games. Then they go on the road. Oh, no, you said November. Okay, my bad. I'm just thinking about the beginning of the season. This is Buffalo, Cincinnati. Both of those games are at home. Then they travel to Indianapolis to play. That's their first road game. And then they come back in week 4 to play the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, I think that's what I just saw today. So as I digress, getting back to what we're talking about. Hey, look, hold on, because I don't want to leave out the leave out my TikTok family. They got some good questions going over here on TikTok too. It says, how good is the offensive line? Thanks for the question, Danny boy. I just said I was gonna come on here and talk about Tank. My bad. I'm gonna give y'all. I got a couple of more minutes. I give you what you want. The offensive line. So we haven't gotten a chance to see Braden Smith just yet because he is still, I guess, dealing with an injury. So we have Trent Brown was out there today. So when the starting offensive line was on Tuesday. Right tackle was Trent Brown. Right guard was Ed Ingram. Center was Jake Andrews. Left guard was Wyatt Teller. And left tackle was Ariante Ursery. Side note, I want you all to write this down and let's table this, but let's talk about this in 2 to 3 years. Ariante Ursery is going to be an all-pro left tackle. I said that. Ariante Ursery is going to be a pro. What I say, all pro. I don't think he's ready for all pro just yet, but he's going to definitely be a Pro Bowl left tackle. Going to be voted, not as an alternate. He's going to get voted as a starting left tackle in the next probably 2 or 3 years. That young man can play. The Texans got a really, really, really good player in Ariante Ursery, and he takes his job seriously. I was talking to Derek Stingley today before he did his press conference, and we were talking about him and Kamari and because Kamari has a softball game coming up, a charity softball game coming up. Derek won't be able to be a part of it because it's his birthday. And so I was telling them, yo, because what I found out was I didn't know that Kamari was as good of a baseball player as he was. And Derek was like, yeah, Kamari would say that because Kamari, you can't tell Kamari he ain't good. Kamari good in everything. Let him tell it. And I said, you know who has that same mindset? I said, Ariante. He said, of course. He said, Ariante got that same mindset that he can win in everything. You can't beat him in nothing. He can sing better than you. He can walk better than you. He can eat better than you. Everything he can do better than you. And that's that type of mindset, that mentality that you have to have, especially when you're going up against Will Anderson Jr. and Daniil Hunter every day, which is why I think that, that my opinion is he's going to do that. DJ said something today on the show where it's like, Will has the trajectory to be, you know, better than JJ Watt. And I just started laughing because there was somebody else who said that his rookie year, during his rookie year, not even the end of his rookie year when he was voted defensive rookie player of the year. Somebody said that. I ain't gonna say no name, Sarge, but I ain't say no names. Sarge. Yeah, so somebody had said about Will Anderson Jr. I told y'all about Will Anderson Jr. I know he was a third overall pick, but I did say he listen, and I know that the defensive player of the year awards are going to stand out. I don't think that because JJ got what, four? JJ won four defensive player of the year awards. So I know that those are going to stick out. But man, when you watch Will, oh my God, Will is a what did Kobe Bryant say? How can you be the um how can you be a different beast but be the same animal? That's Will. Will should get that three. Thank you. I appreciate that. He should get that. Sarge, how is CJ looking in camp? Appreciate you too. Um, he just looking like he's in camp. That's all. CJ looks like he's in way better shape than I've ever seen him in. But I can't really give you an evaluation on how he's looking until they get into training camp, because even today, and I'm pretty sure there's some people, I haven't seen anybody else's content because I've been busy today, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna tell you that CJ, oh man, CJ didn't look good in training camp today. Well, that's because CJ was working on something. You can tell, I've been around this game long enough to know that I see when they're working on something, because keep doing the exact same thing over and over, trying to perfect this throw with different wide receivers. And so that was good. Oh, speaking of wide receivers, Jalen Noel. Yeah. 2023. Jalen Noel. We're gonna talk about that. Like like I said, I ain't gonna over inundate you all. I'm just glad to be back to be able to tell you this stuff. Tank definitely gonna come back. Player of the year. I don't know about player of the year, but I will say that he is like what people don't realize about Tank, and this started at home. Tank is tough. Tank is tough. And he is also competitive. Because he's been, his whole career, and I'm not even talking about the NFL, I'm talking before he even made it into the NFL. He's had to prove himself time and time and time again at different colleges. As far as the first two colleges that he went to, and then he got to U of H, and he had to prove at U of H that he was who he was. And you all can go back and look at the numbers, and you can look at Tank's career at the University of Houston. And he's just one of those ones, man. He's just one of those ones. And you're right. I don't know what he's gonna look like coming back after two lower body injuries, but I'm talking about what I seen on Tuesday, the first time that we've actually really, well, I'm sorry, the first time that Tank has participated in multiple plays during the team drills. And like I said, nobody else, I don't know what was going on with everybody else, but I was just happy that I was the only one that was able to see it. I walked, it's like, wait a minute. And then I'm like, because I noticed that Tank and Nico wasn't playing catch anymore. So I'm like, okay, so where are they? So I start to look around, and that's when I noticed. And I was like, oh, they running drills on that backside. Somebody asked me earlier about uh hold on, what did wait, hold on, what did hold on, won't be the no, I don't think Dwight said it won't be the same after the injury. I don't think that Dwight's being negative. I just think he's being realistic. I don't, coming back from remember now, he got hurt his rookie year. He was out with a lower body injury. Then in the summer, he got shot. And then in week 16, he got hurt again. And Tank Dell is also like, I think Tank Dell will be 27 years old this year. Let me see. Yeah, Tank Dell is 26. I think that he turned, yeah, Tank is 26, but I think that he has a birthday this year. And so, in football years, he still should have some left in his body. But when you get up there in age and having played so much football, I'm rooting for him. Everybody can't be Adrian Peterson. I say that Adrian Peterson. If anybody of you all got a chance, anybody ever had an opportunity to watch Adrian Peterson play football, and if you didn't go back to YouTube and watch it, Adrian Peterson is the real Black Panther. He from Wakanda. He has vibranium. Because I ain't never seen nobody bounce back from injury like Adrian Peterson. He was like, oh, well, Adrian Peterson has been ruled out 4 to 6 week with a severely sprained ankle. He'll be out four to 6 weeks. And then in 2 weeks, you'd be like, Adrian Peterson is starting for the Minnesota Vikings today. What? Wait, hold on. You said 4 to 6 weeks. Yeah, and he could have played in week one, but we want to make sure, just to take some precaution. What do you mean? You said that this man has a severely sprained ankle. Adrian Peterson Adrian Peterson is he's the original Black Panther. He from Wakanda because ain't nobody got no bounce back from injury like he does. So AP had that scene in him. But yeah, so mandatory minicamp will resume on Wednesday. I'm gonna try to come back here and speak with you all, talk with you all, let you all know what I seen. It's going to probably be a lot of you all are probably going to be watching the game four of the I say W, the game four of the NBA Finals, and so I'll try to get a show in as early as I can. But we also, like I said, DJ Bename and I will be back on ESPN 97.5 Houston radio from 3 to 6. So, if you're not in your car, if you can't listen to it in your car, just go to the ESPN 97.5 app and pull it up and you can listen to us. We had some great conversations today. One of the biggest back and forths that we had was about CJ and his contract. DJ didn't say that CJ didn't deserve the contract. He just didn't like the parameters in which I was using to say that CJ deserves every penny that David Mulugeta negotiates for him because there hasn't the Houston Texans haven't had an offensive identity in the 3 years that he's been here. Vega, if you can give a prediction stat wise, what would your prediction um yeah, we're on YouTube too? Okay. If you can give a prediction stat wise, what would your prediction for Noel be this year? Vega, or are you want me to give like receptions, yards, and touchdowns? Or you just saying, what do I think that he's going to be? Because I had an opportunity to speak with Jalen Noel. Aaron Wilson and I from KPRC2 had an opportunity to speak with Jalen Noel on last week. I have as some of you all have seen some of the clips that I put out, but I'm going to put out the full interview here sometime this week. And after Thursday, y'all just make sure that you're following me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end, and on TikTok at Big Sarge Media. I will be putting out a lot of content. I will be digging in my duffel bag. I will be giving you all content up into training camp. And then you all know once training camp start, I'll be flooding your timelines with it. Yards and touchdowns. I can see Jalen Noel having about 550 and about 550, 7 touchdowns. I don't know if that's a bad thing, but I also need to see in training camp how Nick Haley's going to use him. But if I just take a ballpark guess right now, I could say about 550 and about 550 and 7 touchdowns, because this is the year I think that, if Brevin Jordan can stay healthy, between Brevin Jordan and Dalton Schultz, Dalton Schultz first, then Brevin Jordan. And then of course you got Nico, you got Higgins, um, and then you have Noel, but you also have David Montgomery has to get his touches out of the backfield. Get in the backfield as far as running the ball. And Woody's going to get a lot of catches out of the backfield. So I feel like I feel like this is what CJ had going into 2024. I was about to say 23. That was his rookie year. 2024 is when they had gotten Stephon Diggs and they got Joe Mixon, right, on the offensive side of the ball. Nick Caley needs to call a somewhat good offense for us to be successful. Yes, I believe that too. I believe that no, Mixon. I don't think Mixon won't be back. Not for the Texans, but when you look at they've got CJ some protection up front, some consistent protection. Yes, that is a train, but they got him some consistent 700 yards, 9 touchdowns, 45 receptions. I mean, I can see that. I don't know, 700 yards. I If you think Jalen Noel's going to have 700 yards receiving, then how many does Nico and Higgins have? I don't know. I mean, that's one. I guess that's one thing that I'm going to have to talk to DJ about, because I think that like 700 yards for a slot, that's a lot, right? When you have two big outside wide receivers that's going to have to get touches, and you got Tank. Um, It's time for Collins to get an all pro, at least second team all pro. Yeah. He was, you know what? The crazy part about it was he was on his way to getting that. Is that last season? Or was that 2024? One of them seasons. And then he got a concussion. He got hurt. That had to be 2024, because he came out the gate balling. And when he got hurt, I think, what was it, a concussion or hamstring? I got to go back and look. But he got hurt. And when he got hurt, he was leading the league, I think, in receiving yards. And he got hurt. Nico get 1,200, but I think Nico may miss some games. It's gonna be that's gonna be good. Now I'm going 450 to 550 yards for Noel, but it all depends on how Kaylee uses him in this offense. That's what I was thinking too, and I think that 550 is really good. Because I said, you gotta if you think that he's gonna get 700 yards, then Nico. How many do you think Nico's going to get? How many do you think Higgins is going to get? How many do you think Tank is going to get? And you got to feed Dalton Schultz too. Like, this is a good problem I feel like he's going to have. This is a good problem that Nick Caley's going to have if he does it the right way. My only concern is, and I said this last night on the B Block podcast with B Scott. My only concern is, are you going conservative or are you opening up the playbook? Because I believe at this point, year two with CJ Stroud, open up the playbook. Open it up. Open that joker wide up. Wide. Every time you come in, CJ should have every game, CJ should have a plethora of plays. That I'm telling you, that playbook needs to be wide open, not just hey, we're gonna use this part right here, and this is what we're gonna stick to. No, hey, look, CJ, here's the plan. Don't forget, we got these other plays over here too. You need to use these other these other plays ain't even breaking case of emergency. These other plays is just where they are. Hey, look, we ain't have no room to put them over here, so they're right here. That's how I look at it. That's how I look at it. Open that playbook up. I want to see so many different types of you know, I want to see, of course you're going to see your basic packages on the offensive side, but the one thing that the Texans did not do last season was it wasn't a lot of exotic plays. It wasn't a lot of, you know, I don't want to say trick plays, but it wasn't a lot of plays that kept the defense off balance. And at one point they got, hey, sit these players in the flats, we'll be good. If they beat us over the top, then okay, if we'll adjust. But hey, we're gonna play. They want to run the ball and they want to throw quickly into these flats. I want to see, I want to see plays where you break the huddle and Nico's in the backfield with David Montgomery. And then you motion him out to the slot, not even to the outside. Put Nico in the slot and let him go and do, because he's very good on end breakers. Let him go and destroy all of that middle part. Let him come out and destroy all of that middle part. Have Tank on the outside. Of course, have Higgins on one side, but have Tank on one side. He'll go go four wides, bring Nico out of the backfield, make the defense adjust. Now you can use Tank to do whatever you're gonna do with him, or use Higgins to do, and then let Noel and Collins disrupt all of that inside and do those type of things. I bring a line Higgins behind Schultz. Put him like right there. Man. Bring him out. Put him right behind him. Hike the ball and then make the defense adjust. That's what I want to see. I need to write that down. We didn't win an hour. I told my wife I was gonna be 15 minutes. Nearly an hour. I told my wife it was gonna be 15 minutes. What I want to see this year from the Texans offense is making the defense adjust to them instead of them adjusting to the defense. I want them to be so aggressive that every time they break the huddle, the defense is like, all right, what are they doing? What okay, so wait, hold on. What is that? Like, hold on. I ain't never seen that before. Hey, what is that? Hey, they didn't hey, oh wait, whoa. We didn't see this on film. Hey, what are they doing? And then once they get used to, so cool. I know what they're doing now. Well, what the hell are they doing now? Like that's the type of offense that I think that the Houston Texans should have in 2026. Make the defense adjust to you constantly. Show them one package, then come out, show them another package, then show them coming another package, and then when they get used to that package, bring back that other package that you had, and you can add some more different variations to it. Just be more aggressive. Use your scheme to be more aggressive. I like Montgomery, but he ain't that good to take away touches from Woody. Texans will be doing themselves a disservice by not having. Hold on, let me see. So what's up, Philly to Texas? I like Montgomery. He's talking about running back David Montgomery, but he ain't that good to take away touches for Woody. Texans will be doing themselves a disservice by not having Woody heavily. I think Woody will be heavily involved. I think that this two back system that they're going to have, I think that Woody is also going to be involved because Woody is a dual purpose back. Woody can run the ball and Woody can catch the ball. And I don't know if y'all seen it or not. If not, go to my page. I got pictures up of Woody Marks. Woody looks good. Body wise, he shed all of that college weight, and he coming in. He's smaller, but he still looks, he's small, but he still looks impactful, but he looks quicker. He looks quicker than what he is. And so I think that it'll be that. Hmm. I'm mad Caleb Williams on the Madden cover. Media trash CJ, but propping up Caleb Williams bum head. Hey, Mike in Space City. I said the exact same thing on matter of fact, I said that on the two times, I think. One time on the radio and one time on Brandon's podcast. It was like everybody trashes CJ for his playoff downfalls or miscues or whatever you want to call them, but uh, Caleb Williams had the same one and they awarded him the Madden cover. I'm with you, Sarge. I need to see offensive scheme wins. What is this one? Respectfully, Big Sarge, you have the commentary and delivery to take over and become the face of the Texans media. You just need to be consistent with the videos and live streams. You could be, hey man, is that Hovaholic? First of all, hey, that freestyle. The freestyle is coming up at Yankee Stadium gonna be wild from Jay-Z. I like the fact that he did his hair. And you know what? Overhaul it, you're correct. You are correct. And that's on me. Sometimes life be lifing. So, consistent with the videos and the live stream. When you say videos, what do you mean? Because I put out constant content on social media all the time. The live streams, you got me on that one. Um, you're right. I'm not one of them people who's gonna be like not gonna tell somebody when they're right. Uh, you're right. You're right, brother. You are 112% correct. I agree. And thank you for holding me accountable. I'm being serious. I think the national media trashes CJ based in the local. Ooh, Senior Boble. That is good. That is good. I think the national media trashes CJ based on the local major media narratives. Okay. You're right. TikTok, I'm gonna talk to y'all tomorrow. I gotta get up out of here because I gotta be up at four o'clock. So we'll be back. Uh hmm, okay. Senior Bobole, let me say this before I get up off here. I don't know if you got an opportunity to listen to the show with DJ and I today on ESPN 97.5 from we were on from 3 to 6 with we sat in for Jeremy and Joe. And we'll be back on tomorrow. I don't know if you got a chance to hear, but so there's one person, Paul Gallant, said on his podcast on Monday that he thinks that the local media is being too soft on CJ. So DJ and I talked about that. I won't rehash it here. DJ and I talked about that. He said that maybe CJ doesn't have as thick skin, and I'm saying there's a whole lot of other parameters that goes into it. Right? Right. It's the last thing I'm gonna say about all of I'm about, and I don't this ain't that you senior bubble, but I'm just saying this is the last thing that I'm going to say as far as this is concerned. What? So when you see, how can I put this? When you see a lot of these, so first of all, let me preface my statement by saying this: there's no bigger critic of CJ Stroud than CJ Stroud. No bigger critic. So I said you can't let the highs be the highs and the lows be the lows. He knows. He's seen the mountaintop and he's seen the valley. So there's no harsher critic on himself than CJ. He doesn't mind coming to the after that Patriots game. He came right to the podium and took all the questions. Took all the questions and talked about his performance. A lot of times when you see this bashing of CJ from a local perspective, a lot of those guys don't show up to a lot of things. A lot of those guys don't show up to a lot of the OTAs, the mini camps, training camp. They may sprinkle it in and there, here and there. They're not in the locker room. They don't, you know, they don't come to a lot of the press conferences. You can talk about, the at the press conferences when the questions that you have should be asked. I don't attack the local media from a personal perspective. I don't take there's only one person that I've attacked publicly. I'm sorry, I didn't attack, that I responded to. It's not attack. There's only one person that I responded to from the local media, not social media, local media, credential media member that I responded to because he's playing with my name. But I'm going to say this. When I say these things, it isn't from I'm not being malicious. I'm not being salacious. This isn't personal. But this is how uh this is how I was raised. You can't throw rocks and hide your hand. Don't throw rocks and then hide your hand. If you throw the rock, stand there, I threw the rock. I use that saying to say this. If you think that there is some issues, and I'm just using CJ for example, if there are some things that you don't like about CJ and there's some things that you feel are not right about CJ, then show up. You have the access. If you have the access, then show up and then say, hey, CJ, blah, 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 blah. And then you sit there and then you wait for him to answer. He may give you the answer that you want. He may not give you the answer that you wanted. But you still ask the question. So now, however you frame it from the answer that he gave you, however you want to talk about it, at least you were there to ask the question. And you're not depending on what someone else asked in a press conference or what someone else is seeing and tweeting, because if two people are watching one person, they get two different perspectives. Then if you're not there, then which perspective are you going to take? You're going to take the perspective of the person that you like the most. That's one. But the person that you like may be wrong, and the person that you dislike may be right, or it could be vice versa. I'm strictly talking about those people who have the access, who can come and find out what they want instead of pushing narratives. So when the national people see the local people bashing, they get a sense of, well, these guys must be boots on ground, when it ain't a lot of people that are boots on ground. I think I told DJ today, there's people that got rubber boots. They'll show up with the rubber boots on, but boots on ground meaning that you got some dirt on your combat boots or your cowboy boots, however you want to call it. But your boots on ground have been solidified and has touched that dirt on a consistent basis, not just once or just twice. And so when you have some of these local guys who may have a big following on social media or have a big platform to say the things that they want to say, I always look at it and say, well, how would you know? Because you're not there. I know you could be there, but if you're not, then what are you doing? Now you're basing your views and spewing a narrative based off what you've seen on Twitter or something you've seen on Instagram or something you've seen on TikTok or something that somebody posted. You're basing this narrative that you're spewing off of somebody else's work, and then you spew it. And if the national guy has respect for you and he follows you, then when you say it, then the national guy is going to repeat it because he thinks that you're credible in what you're saying. But if you ain't out there to see, how the hell you spewing it? And Senior Boble, I know that was a long way around. I know that I gave you a long-winded answer, but that's just how I feel, man. And that's the thing that's gotten there's a lot of people in this local media market who are pissed off at me for saying that. I had to block a person that I thought was a really good friend because what I just said about you're steady coming online trashing these players. This was the Rockets. You're steady coming online trashing the Rockets, talking down on the Rockets players and talking about what's going on in the locker room when I haven't seen you at not a thing. And you have the access to be able to come. Well, I gotta work. You ain't gotta work all the time. They have shoot arounds on the weekends too. And if you're not there, then what information are you using to trash them? What information are you using? How can you say you know exactly what's going on in the locker room? Well, I got people that I talk to, so you're using secondhand. When the people that follow your platform and listen to you are thinking that you're creditable because they believe that you not only have inside information but your boots on ground. So then I get a lot of the pushback because they say, well, Sarge, you think that you're all this, that, and the other because you're there. And yeah, I do. You know why? Because if I come on here and I say, hey man, CJ, look, I'm gonna give you a prime example. What year was the Hall of Fame game? What year was the Hall of Fame game? The year that 2020 2024 is when Andre Johnson went into the Hall of Fame. If I'm not mistaken, 2024, right? That's the year that the Texans played the Bears. Yes, that's the year, right? The Texans played the Bears in the Hall of Fame game. Yes. So, if you remember, the Texans played the Hall of Fame game in Ohio. And instead of coming back home to practice because they had a game on that Friday against a preseason game that Friday against the Steelers, they decided to stay. They decided to stay in Ohio they started to stay in Ohio and they practiced at Nick Casario's high school. They practiced for 2 or 3 days at Nick Casario's high school before they went to Pittsburgh to play that Friday. If you go back and you look at some of the tweets that I put out or some of the things that I said, even some of the interviews that I put out, you'll see me saying, hey, this offense is getting their ass kicked. You remember I told you CJ dropped back, threw a pass, Derek Stingley caught it and threw it back to the offense and said, try that shit again. Remember I told you that the offense looked good in spurts, but for the most part, that defense was kicking their butts. And I've been telling you that through training camp. Well, the only way that I know that is because I'm there and I'm watching every play and I'm saying, okay. So now I'm reporting that. So now the people who aren't there, right? Then they'll pick up on that and then they'll say, oh, well, the Texans are having a bad training camp and this, that, and other, blase this and blase that. Well, you're using my work, one. Then for two, you can't come back and say CJ's trash because Sarge said he's having a bad camp. You can't call him trash. You can just be like, hey, there may be some issues, problems, and concerns as far as that offense is concerned, the offense that's led by CJ Stroud. There's different ways of being able to do that. I put it like this. Let me ask y'all a question. How often y'all hear me talk about the Astros? Ain't because I don't like the Astros. I still like watching the Astros play. But you ain't heard me say nothing about what's going on with the Astros. I read a lot. I see a lot. You ain't seen me say nothing about that, right? And one of the reasons why you haven't is because I'm not in the locker room anymore. In the clubhouse, excuse me. I'm not around them like that. So I can't get on Twitter and say such and such is terrible and he's blase this, blase that. I'm not around enough to know. I'm not knowledgeable enough to say that this person is this or this person is that. I can only tell you, hey man, after watching the game, that was whew. And then I'm careful about that because there's a lot of things that go on in game that a lot of people never see. So as I digress, you're right. You're right, Senior Boble. A lot of the national media bashes bashes CJ based off of what the local narrative is. And a lot of times they will take so a lot of times is they'll come out and they'll bash this person, and then even though he plays well, then they'll just move on to the next person to bash. You bash this player A, and you'll say he's not, and the player A could be going through a slump or not doing well or whatever, and then that player A starts to play very well and you know turns whatever around, starts playing well. Now you're looking for the next person because negativity sells. We know that. So anyway, uh, what's going on, Kingpin? I don't know, Kingpin. A brush can only paint what you make. Exactly. What's Joey Crawford syndrome? Noise echoes off the wall. Yep, Senior Boble. Deeper than football for some and ACs too. Hey, can I give you out one more thing before I go? Because it's been an hour now. Let me give you out one more thing. This is what I want. Texas fans, this is what I want y'all to do. There's one player on the defensive side of the ball that I want you to pay very, 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 very close attention to. Because I believe that if he can stay healthy, he's going to help that defense out a lot. A lot. If he can stay healthy and get the reps that he needs. Just keep your eye on cornerback Jalen Smith. I think I told you all last year that I liked the way that he was playing. I talked to J Rock a lot, but just keep your eye on him. He's one of those players that Derek Stingley Jr. is very, very high on. I asked Derek about him. I'm going to put that clip out probably in the morning about him, but Derek is very high on him. D'Amico is very high on him. That young man has great fundamentals. That young man can play, and they're going to find a way. If you know anything about Dino Vasso, and let me make sure I give him his proper title than just defensive back coordinator. Where is Dino? Okay, so yeah, so if you know anything about Dino Vasso, who coaches the defensive backs, you know that coaching Kamari, coaching Derek, he's gonna put him right there. I gotta put that clip out about what Derek said about him. Let me see. Y'all give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Where is it? Let me read these transcripts. I got the transcripts right here. I'm just gonna read it because I asked Derek about him specifically. Dalton Schultz. Oh, y'all should hear what Dalton Schultz said when I asked him about the him being able to make the tweaks. Hold on. Making the tweaks on how he has been able to tweak his game to offensive coordinator Nick Cayley's offense and the impact of the addition of David Montgomery. That's what I asked Dalton today. Here we go. So I asked Derek Stingley today about Jalen Smith's development heading into year two. And then I also asked him about Will Anderson Jr., but he said J Rock, man, when he's out there, he's making plays every day, even when the ball is not being thrown to him. His breaks, he's playing off his breaks downhill is insane. Him at the line of scrimmage, he's getting his hands on every rep. He's looking good. I just can't wait to see him during the season. That's what Derek Stingley Jr. said about Jalen Reed. I mean Jalen Smith, not Jalen Reed. Jalen Smith. Jalen Reed um is also a person that contributed to this is his second year, but he contributed he contributed last season as well. He's another player that D'Amico is very high on. D'Amico talked about that last week. I specifically asked him about Jalen Smith and Jalen Reed. So before I would get ready to get up out of here, Kingpin, you came late, but I'm gonna go ahead and answer your question. Kingpin 91 says, "Am I tripping for being real high on Jalen Noel this year?" No, you're not. You're not. You're not tripping. You are not. You're not tripping on Jalen Noel. Y'all see it, that boy. Look at that. I'm going at hell. You're not tripping, Jalen Noel. And so let me say this. The Texans offense did Jalen Noel a huge disservice last year. I'm just gonna call a spade a spade. Nick Haley, if there's one person that I think that he mismanaged last year, that was Jalen Noel. I don't think that he used him. I don't think he used him the right way. I think that he had too much confidence in Christian Kirk, and Christian Kirk was on injured reserve on two different occasions. I know that Christian Kirk balled out against Pittsburgh, had a really good game against Pittsburgh in the playoff in the wild card game, and then he was pretty much a no show against New England. But I felt like just throughout the season, I'm saying you've got to use Jalen Noel for more than just you got to use Jalen Noel for more than just kickoff. I'm sorry, yeah, kickoff and punt returns. Y'all give me a second. Let me look up something. All right, what are we looking at? Here we go. Let's get it started in here. Keep running, running, and what am I? I hit the wrong thing. Running, running, and running, running, and running. So Christian Kirk. Let me see. No, I said Christian Kirk. I'm looking for Jalen Noel. When you're looking at the stats, right? Where's the season stats? So I don't see it. I may have to look at somewhere else. But in that Seahawks, in the Seahawks game, he had 4 catches for 77 yards. And then he came back against the 49ers and had 5 catches for 63 yards. Five catches was the most catches that he had throughout the entire season because he only had 26 catches for 292 yards and 2 touchdowns. But then when you start looking at um against he didn't have no catches against the Broncos. I don't even know had if he was targeted. Let me see. Where is that? I know. Y'all give me a second now. Now I gotta go look at it this way. Uh Players. Don't wanna be a player no more. I'm not a player, I just crush a lot. Right. Let's see if we can find it. Come on, come on. Don't do me like that. Come on, stop playing. Let me me see if I can do it this way. For some reason, this doesn't want to act right. Let me see if I can look at it this way. All right. Okay, let's look at this other one then. I think, okay, let me see. This the one? Okay, this may be the one. Okay, y'all give me a second. I think we finally cooking with gas. Okay. Here we go. Got it. Oh no, that's not what I want. I don't want post. I want regular season. Y'all stick with me for 1 second. Here we go. I got it. So for the whole, and this is a travesty. Woody Marks was targeted more time, only by one, of course, but still, he was targeted more times than Jalen Noel. Jalen Noel ran 189 routes, was only targeted 35 times, had 26 receptions for 292 yards. He had, I'm not going to use that one because he doesn't have enough. Third highest as far as separation is concerned, separation yards. What was his catch rate? He had a catch percentage of 74.3%. So you only target him 35 times. He gets 26 catches. But targeting Jalen Noel 35 times throughout. No problem, King Pen 91. But you only target him one time. You target him 35 times throughout an entire season. That's just not enough. You know what? Now that we're here, Sarge, let's look at this. Let me look at the postseason. Postseason. Jalen Noel was targeted twice. 2 times. Christian Kirk was targeted 15 times. Jalen Noel was targeted twice. Twice in the postseason. That's a huge. See, now y'all done took me down a rabbit hole. I got some work I got to do. Bell out of tray, baby. I seen what you tried to do to me too on B Scott's stream, talking about your Sarge. What you gonna do about week 4? It's been real. Y'all make sure to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend to subscribe to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast. All one word on YouTube, Texans Tailgate Talk. Follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports, the Z at the end. Follow me on the Ticket and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Follow me on IG at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Because we do everything for the gram. I got to get out of here because I got to be up. Y'all make sure that you tune in tomorrow from 3 to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you can listen to it, it's 97.5 FM on your radio dial. If not, if you got to stream it, listen to it in your homes, at work. Use your if you're using your baby mama car, turn it on that too. Tell you got to listen to Sarge and DJ. But we'll be on from 3 to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on ESPN 97.5 Houston. And it's streamed live, I think, on Twitch and on YouTube. But y'all just do me that favor. Y'all do me that favor and make sure y'all check that out. Big Sarge, I'm out.
Big Sarge.